Presents live in its 30th season, the Professional Bowlers Tour. Today from North Brunswick, New Jersey, it's the $150,000 Johnny Petraglia Open. In our first game, Dave Traber of Woodstock, Illinois, is seeking his first PBA championship. His opponent won his second title just 3 weeks ago, Bob Benoit of Topeka, Kansas. That winner will face Norm Duke of Albuquerque, who's appearing for the second consecutive week. In the semifinal game, three-time champion Charlie Tapp of Kalamazoo, Michigan, hoping to win. Our tournament leader is one of only 3 players to capture the Triple Crown. Last week's winner, Pete Weber. And that's our outstanding field of finalists for today's Professional Bowlers Tour telecast. The Professional Bowlers Tour has returned to New Jersey, to the central part of this beautiful state, in the area of Princeton and Rutgers University. We're in North Brunswick at the Carolure Lanes for the finals of the $150,000 Johnny Petraglia Open. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, sports-minded New Jersey. And it's here that I'm reminded that sports is truly a reflection of life's ups and downs. And over the years, our ABC cameras have certainly documented that fact. The ultimate highs include Trumbull, Connecticut's defeat of the Taiwan team in the Little League World Series in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. The emotional Kentucky Derby runaway by Unbridled for owner Francis Gentry. And Tanya Harding executing the first triple axel by an American woman, all thrills of victory.
Only Midori Ito has completed a triple axel in competition. Oh, how nice, how terrific. He's got the fastest.
There have also been the low moments of agony. Dan Jansen's tragic fall at the Olympics after his sister's death.
We'll have to see if he can do it here. This is fast.
Oh, no, I don't believe it. Skating so well.
As well as the now famous spill of Benko Bogataj.
Oh, baby.
Life's ups and downs have been mirrored this year by an unusual bowling season, which began with 2 consecutive titles for David Ozio. First time back-to-back victories to open the season since 1972. John Mazza's joyful cheers as he won his first championship. 10-5. And 1 week later, Mazza converts the almost impossible 7-10 split. Only the second in almost 6,000 televised games. Bob Benoit would go on to win that day his first title since his memorable 300 game in 1988. Bob Benoit winning his second. Last week at the Fairlanes Open in Maryland, Pete Weber led the tournament from wire to wire and appeared certain of victory. Here, Pete with his closing strike to record a 213. That is until Del Ballard Jr. stepped up in the 10th frame. Del making the first of 2 necessary strikes.
Robert Lawrence in the first match against Walter Ray Williams was in the same situation. Needed 2 strikes and a 7-count.
The Texan took plenty of time on this shot.
Del Ballard Jr. needs a strike with 7 for all the money.
Come on. Yeah, baby.
Leaving him now just 7 pins from victory. For Del now, this was a $14,500 shot. Ballard's flirtation with victory ended when his final shot landed in the channel, leaving Dell with an agonizing setback. It became the biggest story in sports this week.
Del Ballard Jr. staged this great comeback, but he didn't exactly finish with his spirit. Bowling
Notoriety in all forms of media coverage. It's the most unusual heartbreak for any bowler in our 30 years of televising the Professional Bowlers Tour. And now 1 week later here in New Jersey, Del Ballard Jr. What happened?
Well, my adrenaline was flowing way too much from my previous 2 shots, and I just rushed my last shot. I know how to throw it when I need it, and I did not go through my motions that I usually go through to throw a good shot. I just rushed it and threw it right in the gutter. My feet were way too fast, and that's what happens.
Del, you could have gone back to Texas and hid on us.
I could have went home. It crossed my mind to get on a plane and go home and hide, but, you know, I figured it's just like riding a horse. Why not get back up on it and show it, you know, who's boss? And that's what I felt like this week. And I came in this week and bowled real well my first round, and it propelled me into the finals. And I think I'm over what happened last week.
Del, you're a champ, and hurry back on our telecast.
All right, thank you very much.
Del Ballard Jr. Now here in New Jersey. Let's go to my colleague Nelson Burton Jr. Bo.
Thank you, Chris. I think Del has changed the gold into, or the gutter into gold, and Pete, you are the benefactor of that shot. What good has come to you from the gutter ball by Del Ballard?
Well, naturally, it let me have my 16th title. I still feel like I stole it from him, but I know Del's a great champion, and he took it well. And what I've got out of it, well, you can see for yourself. I'm in the #1 position again, and I'm ready.
$20,000 some extra with bonuses. Also, a big note that everybody has said that they'll always remember Pete Weber as a Del Ballard, as an answer to a Del Ballard trivia question. So, Pete, good luck today. And there's a lot of money at stake out there today. Let's take a look at the prize fund. $60,000 available. 5th place, $5,000. 4th, $6,000. $8,000. The runner-up gets $14,000, and $27,000 to our winner. And Chris, a lot of excitement later on Wide World of Sports.
That's true, because Wide World really spans the globe, going to Cancun, Mexico for the Jeep Superstars, and then live from California, the Santa Anita Handicap. Plus, it's off to Japan for the Tokyo Dome Supercross. All next, ABC Sports. Now we're ready here at Carroll Laird Lanes in North Brunswick, New Jersey. The first match, David Traber of Woodstock, Illinois, is up first. 6-footer, 28 years old, an 8-year pro, looking for his first win. His best finish was El Paso, where he had a 3rd. 6th also in Blood Classic in Miami. Robbed, left the 10-pin on the left lane. His opponent, Bob Benoit.
Dave Traber, a down-and-in type player, not the power player that you often see on the Pro Tour. He adjusts his position on the approach and his ball speed to conquer the lanes.
Okay, marking with a spare now. Getting rid of some of the tension, because this is only the 2nd TV for David. For Bob Benoit of Perfect 300 fame in 1988. It's his 14th telecast.
Benoit going a little wide on the right-hand lane. Chris, at 82 lane bowling centers, you see the style of Bob Benoit's. Nice cupped wrist, low profile to the line. Hits the line very solidly. But the right-hand lane, all the players, it was a consensus that it was a little slicker, a little tighter, and the ball won't hook as much. That was proven out on Benoit's first shot. Now he has the 2-7 split.
In. Bob Benoit, who won his 2nd title recently, Sunrise Bud Light Classic.
Benoit gets the ball to the left of the 2-pin. The ball deflects into the 7. Easy shot for him, especially with that big hook. All he has to do is touch the 2.
standing room only crowd here at Carolier Lanes, a total of 82 in this house. And Bob Benoit with the first strike of the afternoon. Carolier Lanes, largest in the state of New Jersey, 5th largest in the USA.
The largest bowling center in the United States at one time was just up the street. Edison Lane's 112 lanes. Most of those lanes were taken out a few years back and made into a shopping center. So this place stands alone on US 1 in Jersey.
Fine shot by David Traber of Woodstock, Illinois. Stock car racing, his #1 pastime.
Traber with a 4-step delivery, very methodical, short backswing, a little muscle at this point as he drives through the pivot step. Doesn't quite get as low as Benoit or Duke, who we have in the championship round, but keeps the ball on line. He's a very good, what we call track player. When he can play between the first and third arrows, he is very, very tough to beat.
This crowd telling you the story along with our ABC picture. Never like to see it 4, 6, 7, 10, Bo.
What he has to do, Chris, is get the ball over in this area and then slide those pins across. Almost does it. We had John Mazza with the 7-10 a couple weeks ago. We've never had the 4, 6, 7, 10 convert in the championship round, and he just slides behind the 4-pin.
Now it's Bob Benoit on the right lane. Strike up, he can increase his lead to 22 right here. Leaving the 2-4 on the right lane.
Both these players have honed their skills in the regional program of the PBA. Benoit in 1987 bowled in 19 regional tournaments and cashed in 18 of them. He lives in the southwest region of the 7 regions of the PBA. Traber also an excellent regional player in the Midwestern region.
Bob Benoit has enjoyed great success in the tour, but what would he like to pursue after bowling?
Oh, preferably nothing. But if I have to, I would like to own a bowling center and build some street rods in my spare time.
All right, the former owner of a fix-em-up shop, and a good one for automobiles. Hitting a 10 and Bo looking at somebody like Bob Benoit, who shook that a lot of losses on TV after his perfect 300. He has really worked hard with a lot of setbacks, and you have to admire them.
Yes, he has, Chris, both personally and really out in the bowling. He lost 9 consecutive games at one stretch there, and he broke that with a win there at the Fairlanes, and he says he's just having fun now.
Okay, Bob Benoit. In our first match, Bob leads by 11. We'll be back. Huge bowling establishment, Carolier Lanes in North Brunswick, New Jersey, in our first match while we were away. David Traber doubled to come within 1 pin of Benoit. Spare up 5th frame for Bob. And then that.
Well, the 2-8-10, very difficult split to make, but what Benoit has to do is get the ball over in this area right here, get the ball over in that area, and then he has to get the ball where he can take the ball and slide the pin straight across into the 10.
Each of our professionals here in our first match have open frames, and it's Traber that has the lead. And Traber, of course, when he's next up, will have a double working, but Benoit now trying to recover on the left lane.
See the position of Benoit on the lane. He's going to stand way over on the left side. He's going to be sliding about this area. He's going to cross the lanes right about in that area, so he will have a nice smooth line down the pocket.
And Bob leaving the 3-6-10.
Benoit with that big hook seems to be a little bit confused, and when it's not working, he really struggles. He straightens the ball out for spares, throws the ball almost perfectly straight. He doesn't cup his wrist, and it's obviously a good idea. The big hook would really give him trouble on the spares, but he's a big game bowler. When he's hot, he stays hot. Right now, he's struggling.
Winner of this, our very first match in the Johnny Petraglia Open, will face Norm Duke, originally from Fort Worth. And then next up will be Charlie Tapp, and then Pete Weber. One of the 3 Triple Crown winners. Here he is, our host, Johnny Petraglia, former president of the PBA. And David Traber, looking for that first national PBA title, has strung 3 and has taken a 23-pin lead. We asked Dave if he weren't bowling on the PBA circuit, what would he be doing?
I'd probably be involved in auto mechanics. I like to work on cars a lot. If not that, I'd like to get involved in NASCAR. I enjoy stock car racing. I'd like to go out there and see what it's like.
Okay. All right. Leaving now the 6-7-10.
What he has to do is get the ball over in the 6-7 zone. Get the ball right over here, so in that area there. And then what he has to do is just slide the 6-pin over into the 7-pin.
So things got a little closer now in our very first game here in North Brunswick, New Jersey, where we'll return after this. Bob Benoit covering 4-pin in the 8th frame while we were away, running a bit behind our schedule. We need to do this. Bob came up with the strike, bringing the match to within 8 pins as we go to Bo.
Thank you, Chris. Norm Duke, one player is playing the big hook ball, the other the straight shot. What do you favor on this championship here?
To tell you the truth, Bo, I'm pretty lost on both lanes. I know that the left lane hooks a little more, and I'm just going to have to go over there and practice shots and pay attention and make good shots and get a good read there. The lanes are changing as we speak, and if my mind was made up, then I'd be lost when I got there. So I'm just going to wait and see what happens when I get there.
All right, good luck. We'll see you in a minute.
Honesty. Now going for the 9-pin, David Traber. He marks with his spare in the 8th frame. He has an 8-pin lead. David Traber, Woodstock, Illinois, a holder of 6 PBA Midwest regional titles, and he won the 1986 Fairlanes National Resident Pro Championship as a top seed, beat Mark McDowell. He's not alone today. His wife, Melissa, who talked him in to coming to North Brunswick to bowl. She knows what's happening, doesn't she? He has a chance to make $27,000 today, but not with bad breaks like that, Nelson.
Chris, he has a choice here. He can either start the ball over in this area and try to slide the 6-7 into this area, the 4-7 area. A very tough shot.
So it's another open frame showing you that our championship pair is not easy. Won't be easy for, I don't think, any of the 5 pros.
Well, Chris, depends on the lane oil carry down. As we watch week to week, the pros with all that spin and speed on the ball have a tendency to carry the oil down to the back end. If it carries down and sets up, we could have some real good scores in the next 2 matches.
Okay. Leading by 9, 9th frame. Be a good time to punt since we're in the state where the NFL Super Bowl champion Giants play, my alma mater.
You're right, Chris. As you see the ball sliding by the head pin, he knocks out the 2-pin, leaves the 8-10. There's nothing much Bob Benoit can do with this except just throw it the 10-pin, hope to bounce it out. It's almost like making the 7-10 split. You have to bounce the pin out. You can't slide it over.
Okay. All right. So now Benoit trails by 4. What an interesting first game.
Match game competition, and the players knew that the pair could be a little tough at the start. I think they were a little tentative, but it's come down to the 10th frame. Right now, Bob Benoit cannot shut out Dave Traber. The best Benoit can shoot is 182, Traber a possible 186. So who can win the match in the 10th frame?
Always be amazed that his very first title was a perfect 300 game in the top seed position. And of course, our president, Dennis Swanson, presented the check for 100 grand. And Bo, we saw Dennis along with Marion Ladewig and Ike Herbert honored at the second Salute to Champions last Sunday night.
Last Sunday night in St. Louis, and these players probably wish they were here, wish they were there, but they're here now, and Benoit needs a strike to take the lead, 11th frame.
Watch this shot.
Shot we've seen all week here. The head pin is the pin that does the damage. Watch the head pin. It'll go on the left sideboard and comes flying back across.
Intensity. How about a smile, Bob? Okay. Match will go home with $5,000. Winner, of course, has a chance to move ahead. And here we go again, Nelson.
You're right, Chris. We saw this situation twice last week. Robert Lawrence needed 2 strikes and 7 to win the first match. He did it. Ballard needed 2 strikes and 7 to win the title. He didn't. Traber's up there now.
Not today. There's a 310. Of course, there's your winner, Bob Benoit. So that means he will go against Norm Duke next. ABC Sports presentation, the Professional Bowlers Tour, will return after this message and a word from our ABC station.
The Pro Bowlers Tour, brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. And by True Value. Got a tough job to do? You can do it with True Value stores.
A couple of minutes ago in match 1, Bob Benoit defeated David Traber in a tough match, 182 to 165. Now he'll move up in our stepladder format to go against Norm Duke, now bowling out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. We're at Carolina Lanes and a championship pair today, Nelson.
Chris, the PBA lane condition sets up oil at the 30-foot mark. They carry it down to the 45-foot mark. So there's oil in this area, and it's dry on the very back end. Now, the line that the players are playing, the straight shooters like Traber are playing right down around the first arrow, and some of the other players who are hooking a lot are playing farther inside, swinging out to the edge. So the players have a pretty good shot to the pocket. Once the oil carries down, we look for better scores.
Okay, Bob Benoit with 5 strikes in his victory over David Traber. Traber winning $5,000. First shot on the left lane. Standing room only crowd. North Brunswick. Benoit picking up some cheering section here in this big crowd.
Well, he got zeroed in on the left-hand lane. In the fill ball of the 12th frame of that match against Dave Traber, he moved inside, so he didn't throw it in the channel like Ballard did, and he found a little bit of a shot inside. So Benoit may have changed line and found a way to get some big scores out of it. Now, a hot player, Norm Duke.
Remember, last week Norm was on our telecast, and he lost to Del Ballard. In Del's one game, he shot at 257, 247 the next, and then disaster.
Here's a man that takes a 6-step delivery some days, a 5 some other days, but perfect style. I don't think anybody hits the foul line any better than he does, putting a piece of white tape in the thumb hole. All the players like to keep that exact, comfortable feel in the hole. If your hand goes down a little bit by bowling, by all means, insert a piece of tape.
Okay, Norm Duke, born in Fort Worth, Texas. His only title came in 1983, the Cleveland Open. Next week, Professional Bowlers Tour rolls to Long Island. Pete Weber, Brian Voss, Mike Albee will be trying to make the finals of the $130,000 Leisure Long Island Open. So our coverage begins at 3 Eastern, 2 Central, right here, ABC Sports. Shots like that made Norm very effective last week and this week.
The more we see smooth lane finishes around the country, this bowling center, Carroll Air lanes, 82 lanes, were all resurfaced, completely cut flat 2 weeks before the pros came in here, and that allows the players to play that extreme outside line, as you see Bob Benoit trying to start the match with a double.
Okay, the double for the man bowling out of Topeka, Kansas, Long from Dallas. Longs someday to get back to that wonderful Texas city.
Benoit, when he gets hot, can really throw the strikes. He has a relatively poor TB average. In 11 appearances, he's 186. But considering he had a 300 game in his first championship round appearance, that's rather dismal. But he's having fun now. That win a couple of weeks ago at the Bud Light Classic got the onus off his back, and he says he's ready to play.
Telecast for Bob here in 1991. He's earned $60,485, and Norm Duke, in his second of the year, has earned $58,500. That was last year. This year, $12,003. Precariously near the channel. Norm Duke is a consistent bowler, but tournament titles have eluded him. Are any changes needed?
Not really. Not really. Because I'm consistent, that gives me the confidence to come out here and make money. And, you know, they say 8 years since you've won. It hasn't been 8 years since I've bowled good enough to win, Bo. I got to do what I got to do and just see what happens. And I'm on my way.
At 18, the youngest bowler to win a PBA title. He's now 26. Wow. Coming on strong, Norm Duke. 3 in a row. The match is all even. We'll be back with more. Norm Duke, 3 in a row, 5th frame. 4 in a row. However, while we were away, his opponent, Bob Benoit, marked with 2 more strikes. So Bob Benoit now, 5 frames, 5 strikes. Norm Duke's mother, Martha Crooks, is here. Very tense. That's all moms are. Offspring's out here competing. Leaving a 10-pin on the... Applause for his performance. Mom looking overhead at the score sheet, and she sees that his opponent has a 5-bagger. Okay, Norm Duke marking with a spare. That coming in the 6th frame. Duke can rest. Up on the lane now, using the full approach is Bob Benoit, leading by 11. 5 in a row, 6th frame. Distraction, and wisely steps off. could duplicate what he did at Grand Prairie in '88. Perfect 300 grain and 100,000 from True Value Hardware. Tomorrow, ABC's college basketball brings you a championship doubleheader. First at 2 Eastern, Ohio State tries to wrap up the Big Ten as they take on conference rival Iowa. Or you'll see the final game of the Big 8 Conference Championship. Then at 4 Eastern, Alabama meets Tennessee or Georgia for the SEC Conference Championship crown. Or regional coverage of the final game of the Southwest Conference Championship. Got that? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, now, just 5 more. 7 straight strikes by Bob Benoit of Topeka, Kansas. Wide World next, and what a world it is here at the Professional Bowlers Tour telecast. Norm Duke trailing by 31 because his opponent Bob Benoit has 7 in a row. Spare up 7th frame. High hit, and luckily only the 6-10.
Norm Duke is no stranger to high-scoring matches. As you looked at Bob Benoit, who has 7 strikes in a row. At one time, Norm Duke and Purvis Granger tied at perfect 300 in 1985 in Las Vegas during the match play round. As you see Norm Duke making another change in his tape in his thumb hole. He's working at a 227 pace, but he's trailing by 33 pins.
Okay, Norm Duke, third at Fairlanes, losing to Al Ballard. It's tough going against professionals that are stringing them. Mark Roth should know.
That's for sure. Roth was the victim of Benoit's 300 game. He shot a 255 that game, trailed at the end by 45. But don't count Duke out. He still has a possible 257. A lot of action left.
Good break for Norm Duke. The intensity now. Duke is tremendous competitor. Now, Bob Benoit. 8th frame, 7 in a row. As we mentioned a moment ago, should he do 12 strikes, perfect game, $100,000 from True Value Hardware stores. And now, only 4 more. Like a replay of 2 years ago, Nelson. Perfect hit.
You're right, Chris. There's only been 5 players to ever roll a perfect game in the championship round. The first being Jack Biondello, then the great Johnny Gunther, Jim Stefanich, Pete McCordick. But nobody has done it twice. Benoit was the last man, and that experience alone has to give him the self-confidence to believe that I can do it again. 9th frame.
Okay. Pounder each 3 more. 3 to go and $100 grand. We have 2 competitors in the audience, Phil Villapiano of the champion Raiders and John Montefusco of the San Francisco Giants. Here they are. Are they eating this up along with you?
Great bowling fans. They bowled in the Pro-Am on Monday. Duke still has a chance, so.
Keeps hanging in there and striking. It's all you can do.
Well, Norm Duke has this console look on his face, but it's not over yet. Remember the gutter ball that Del Ballard threw last week? Even with 9 strikes in a row, Duke still has a chance if he can strike out.
Here, all of you, his best shots during this second match, going against Bob Benoit, who won the first game over David Traber, 182 to 165. There is Bob.
What's going through his mind? first place, he almost has to be thinking about a gutter ball, because if Duke strikes here, he'll be in the 250s. Benoit would still need 6 pins on his first ball to win.
That, as you saw, sliding down. And 278. Wow.
Just a little wide for Duke. He'll be in the 240s, but because he didn't strike here in the 11th frame, this locks up the match for Benoit. It's only 300 he thinks about now.
244, Norm Duke, and he's cheering for his fellow Texan, Bob Benoit. And who isn't? 10th frame.
Stubborn 10 denies Benoit a possible $100,000.
Well, let's take a look at that first shot.
Watch the action in the head pin. If he's going to strike on this ball, it's going to be the head pin. It comes back around. It gets shortcutted by the 4 pin. Not to happen. Bushwhacked at the pass right there for that Texan.
Still a smile. Norm Duke saying, tough break. Sorry you didn't get the 300. 275 to 244. Blue Boy. Charlie Tapp next. Here's Bo's tip of the week on ball pitches.
ABC Sports Bowling Tip of the Week is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
On today's tip, we're going to discuss the holes in a bowling ball and how they can be changed to benefit your game. In my bowling ball here, I have a 3.5-inch span, and the thumb and fingers are drilled directly towards the center of the ball, creating 0 pitch. Yet because the ball is round, they're still angled towards each other. Now as I increase that span to 4.5 inches, the angle towards the finger and thumb increases, yet there's still 0 pitch in the bowling ball. This makes it very difficult to release the ball. Now what can we do? First place, we can make a change in the thumb. We can angle the thumb away from the center of the ball. We call this reverse pitch, and this allows you to get out of the thumb hole very quickly at the point of release. Now, a second thing we can do is angle the fingers more toward the thumb. This is called forward pitch. This allows you to stay in the finger holes longer at the point of release. The final result becomes this. You get out of the thumb hole very quickly at the point of the release. You keep your fingers in the ball much longer for accuracy and power.
Hope you're enjoying the excitement here at Carolina Lanes in North Brunswick, New Jersey. We are. In the first match, Bob Benoit, 5 strikes, defeated David Traber, 182 to 165. And then, in the second match, 9 strikes against Norm Duke, 275 to 244. Match 3 coming up, Charlie Tapp. Minnesota will be stepping in.
And there's a man who didn't make the top 5, but he has a vested interest in the results of this tournament. It's named after him, Hall of Famer Johnny Petraglia, one of the toughest competitors I ever had a chance to bowl against, Chris, and the Triple Crown winner, one of the great players of all time. Let's take a look at Johnny among his friends here, up close and personal.
The professional bowling career of Johnny Petraglia has spanned 4 decades, in which time he has reached the peak of his profession through the guidance and inspiration of some key people.
The biggest influence as far as bowling goes would be my parents. My father especially, because he actually worked a second job to raise enough money for me to get on tour. So in that sense, he would be the biggest influence. In the influence of the sport itself, when I was 13 years old, I went to watch Don Carter and Dick Weber bowl an exhibition match in Madison Square Garden, and that's when I wanted to be a pro, after I watched the 2 of them bowl. In the teaching aspect, Andy Parapapa gave me lessons. He's a dynamic personality. It was great learning from him. So in different ways, there's different people. Eddie Elias had a lot to do with it because he actually got me out of Vietnam 36 days early through a thing called seasonal employment for athletes. So with the way Vietnam was in 1968, the extra 36 days might have made all the difference in the world. The Vietnam experience, one thing that's important, especially right now, I don't know how the Saudi Arabia thing's going to turn out, but people should go see Born on the 4th of July just so it never happens again. I have friends on the wall. I can't do this. I have friends on the wall, friends with post-traumatic stress, friends in hospitals. And if you go to the it's depressing. Just see the movie. Make sure it doesn't happen to your kids.
Today, Johnny comes home from his position of Pro Tour coordinator for Brunswick to the most important person in his life, his wife, Pat.
It's been a great relationship over the years. She's always, well, I know it's a cliche, but she has always been there for me. No matter how bad things got, she always made it better. She's my life. It doesn't go any further than that. If I don't have her, I don't have anything.
The Petraglia family is a tight-knit group with many relatives and close friends, including today's catcher.
Come on, John. No batter, no batter. A little high. Come on, get it down, get it down.
Mark Roth catching and Johnny Petraglia pitching. Now, there's a Hall of Fame battery.
Oh, I'll bowl for the rest of my life. I won't bowl at the same level. I won't be out there all year, but when I'm 50, I'll bowl on the seniors, and I'll bowl until I can't bowl anymore. I still love to bowl. That'll never change.
Oh, yes, there he is. Great guy. And he talked about his mom and dad, Bo, Grace and Bill. They're among the finest people I've ever met.
Ditto to that, Chris. They've always been Petraglia fans, and it was so touching about John, the tribute he paid to his family when his dad worked his second job, just to allow him to practice. What a great story. Now the story of the tournament so far, semifinal match. In the last game, Benoit started with 9 in a row as he defeated
Big 275 to Norm Duke's 244. Bob Benoit with 9 strikes had everyone on the edge of their seats.
You bet. And there he leaves a solid 10. When you're going that good, you think 300 every game, and I'm sure Benoit came out here and leaving a solid 10 right out of the chute. Said, wow, what a letdown. I can win $100,000. That's when you're really sharp.
Okay. Spare for Bob Benoit in his 3rd match of the afternoon. Now, for the first time today, Charlie Tapp bowling out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. 39-year-old, 3 titles, 18th television appearance, first of this year. And Charlie drills one in the pocket. Whew. Tall and lanky. Little leverage there, Bo.
You bet, Chris, and he is really playing a much different shot than the other players. Charlie, a 5-step delivery, but he's throwing almost a straight shot. Gets a medium-high backswing, drives pretty low to the line, and lifts up the back of that ball. He's a carry back from the lacquer days of bowling lanes before they had the urethane surfaces where you had to keep the ball on line. And Charlie, when he gets close, has been a proven winner in the last couple of years, winning 2 titles.
Remember flying back from Seattle, where he'd won his first title. He happened to be on the same flight. And the reception he got in Minneapolis was incredible.
Well, he had his own radio show up there at that time, and he had a great following. In fact, he predicted that victory. 1983, he says, I will win my first title. And somewhat visibly nervous while he won it, he still took it. Great victory.
And it's good to be in New Jersey. Beautiful landscapes. Shoreline of Point Pleasant and Bay Head, Holmdel, Hunterdon County. And also the home of one of my favorite athletes, Alex Webster. East Brunswick. Great player with the Giants and coach, of course. Bob Benoit, a Dallas Cowboy fan. Living dangerously, 10-pin.
Solid 10, but Benoit looks fabulous out there. Very confident, has everything to gain, nothing to lose. Seems to have his game completely under control, and with that big hook, when he gets it around the pocket, obviously produces a lot of strikes.
All right. Bob Benoit marking the spare. I mentioned the state of New Jersey. I love it. We at ABC, of course, our ABC bowling television coverage started really at Paramus Lanes, which was owned by Frank Esposito, who has been our coordinator for 30 years. So New Jersey is important to our bowling life.
And North Brunswick, only about 25 miles south of New York City. Now Benoit, third frame.
Benoit had 9 of those in his second victory of the afternoon. So very close match with tap up Charlie. Started with a strike, marking the spare, now third frame. Sliding blind, we have a 2-10.
The 2-10 split, very makeable for Charlie Tapp. He just needs to get the ball just to the left of the 2-pin. As you see, the ball sliding by the head pin here. And he needs to get the ball just to the left of the head pin there, 2-pin, and slide that 2-pin over into the 10.
All right, here's the attempt.
About a 3-to-1 shot for the pros.
Okay, so it's an open frame for Charlie Tapp. Charlie was to be married today to Marlis Bohr. There she is, a lady professional at 3 o'clock. However, he made the finals, so it's going to be delayed. Hopefully they get a certificate at City Hall in New York. They hope for Tuesday, but Fran and I got our certificate at City Hall in New York, and I think it took a little longer than 2 days.
And
so good luck.
Let's see if Charlie can extend his time on the lanes here. Fourth frame.
All right, that's more like a bridegroom. The bride-to-be loves it. We'll be back at Carolina Lanes following this. Running a little behind, Bob Benoit. Bowling in the 5th frame, leaving the 2-7-8. Here's his try. Bringing around the 7-pin, doing him 94 through the 5th. He had a 22-pin lead, now only 7. And now to Nelson Burton Jr.
Thank you, Chris. Our tournament leader, Pete Weber. Pete, did you expect the scoring to be that high?
Well, I mean, after the first game, I thought, geez, they were a little bit easier than that in the practice. And you saw the first game 180-160, and then all of a sudden the scores changed a little bit, 270-240. So I think the scores are going to go up a little bit more here.
Predict the winning score in the last game.
Well, they're going to shoot 270 to beat me.
All right. Pretty confident right here. Our tournament leader will be coming up next, Chris.
Okay. And with that double, Charlie Tapp has taken a 3-pin lead. Charlie Tapp is 6'4", 180 pounds. He was a touring pro 79 to 83 before winning his first title in Seattle. He left in 87 because of the death of his brother. Then he came back to win 2 titles in 1989. Ten-pin for Charlie. Our statistician, as always, Butch Soper. Our surfer from California finished 41st today. Met his expenses. And Pete Weber, to whom Bo just talked, is over. Continuing to practice. You hear the pinfall there as Charlie Tapp up on the left lane, carefully setting himself.
Tapp, a real good spare shooter.
Only 2 pins separating these two. Next up, Wide World, the Jeep Superstars from Mexico. And live from California, Santa Anita Handicap Plus. It's off to Japan for the Tokyo Dome Supercross.
Now Benoit up 6 frame, trails by 2.
won his first match over David Traber, 182 to 165. Then had 9 in a row, but he went on to defeat Norm Duke, 275 to 244. We're in New Jersey, only a few miles from Trenton, the capital. And a gentleman, great hero, was born there. Lived part of his life there. His father was the commander of the New Jersey State Police. I'm talking about General Norman Schwarzkopf.
Our leader still over in the Far East, Middle East. And now you look at Benoit with the full grip, can take the lead. 7th frame.
All right. We're in our semifinal game. Bob Benoit going against Charlie Tapp. 8 pins separating them. We'll be back. Charlie Tapp going for the 2-4-5 in the 8th frame. Charlie marked with a strike in the 7th while we were away, running behind our time schedule. Thus, we bowl through. We hope you understand. Bob Benoit with 2 victories today. Enjoying an 8-pin lead, can increase it to 18. He has a double working. That's a 3-bagger, 18-pin lead. Basketball, that's right. Here at ABC, 2 Eastern, Ohio State tries to wrap up the Big Ten title against Iowa. And then the final game of the Big 8 Conference Championship, that is a possibility. Then at 4 Eastern, Alabama meets Tennessee or Georgia for the SEC Conference crown, or regional coverage of the final game of the Southwest Conference Championship.
Now Benoit, 9th frame, could put the knockout blow on Charlie Tapp. Leads by 18, can extend to 28.
Shooting a 10-pin. Speaking of basketball, we're sort of in between Rutgers and Princeton. Princeton in the NCAA, Rutgers hoping. And though Rutgers and Princeton, as you remember, played the first football game ever, intercollegiate, in 1869.
A few years back.
Oh, yeah. Bud Wilkinson and I and ABC did the 100th anniversary game. All right.
Now Charlie Tapp coming up in the 9th frame can get right back in this match. He trails by 17, but he can take the lead if he rolls 3 consecutive strikes and force Benoit to double in the 10th. Big shot, 9th frame.
All right. Charlie Tapp, oldest of our 5 finalists. What would you like to do when your professional career ends?
Well, I think I'd like to get back into the radio business. I had a little bit of fun with that when I was in Minneapolis, and perhaps get into a pro shop. And if none of that works, I'll just get a paper route.
Comical Charlie Tapp, but he needs a strike on this ball. He cannot win the match if he doesn't strike here. 10th frame.
Pressure.
What a great break. The action of the 2-pin off the sideboard into the 4-7 zone. The 3 zaps over in the 6-10. He just caved them all in. He had to have that strike. Now he has at least forced Benoit to mark. He can take the lead with a strike here in the 11th frame.
Wow.
Possible 2-16.
Powerful. 3 pins.
Benoit doesn't watch his opponent bowl, so he doesn't really realize how lucky Charlie Tapp was in the 10th frame, but it makes no difference. You have to work on your own game. He's going to need at least 2 strikes to win the match.
All right, a 10-pin, appreciative crowd. For Charlie Tapp bowling out of Kalamazoo, Michigan, shooting at 215.
For Bob Benoit, must strike on the next 2 balls and 3 pins to win. First order of business, the 10th frame.
Pressure at the Johnny Petraglia Open.
Bob Benoit, with that great strike ball, has only missed the pocket, the 1-3 zone, one time in the last 23 shots. But he needs one more time. He has to go to the well, needs a strike to win this match. Watch this. Benoit sends it wide, trusts the ball wide, and gets a terrific break. The 2-pin trips behind the 4-7, trips it out. Now, he's not going to throw it in the gutter. He's no Ballard on this one. Down the middle.
Hey, and gets it all. 2:23, 2:15. Bob Benoit, the winner, will meet Pete Weber. Stay tuned. Word from our ABC stations first. Thank you very much, Frank. And Bo and I are joined by Del Ballard. His doubles partner, Bob Benoit, is now going against Del's nemesis, Pete Weber, for the championship.
A couple of quick questions, Chris. As you see the tournament recap here, Benoit winning the first thing 182 to 165, and then picking up the scores, really picking up, as Benoit defeated Duke 275 to 244. He started with 9 in a row, and then the semifinals, a couple of good breaks by both players in the 10th, as he defeated Tapp 223 to 215. And you see the scores. The scoring is picked up all the way through, and it's going to be very, very good in the last game. Is Del Ballard, we have your roommate and doubles partner there against Weber in the final match. What do you pick a winner for me and a score?
Well, I think it's going to be a very close match. Weber is tough on TV. Benoit is obviously lined up because he's had the last 3 games on TV. I think that's an advantage over coming in as the top seed, and I pick Bob to win with a score probably around 220.
All right.
I think it'll be higher.
So Bob Benoit on the left lane left the 4-pin in the championship match. 27,000 to the winner. 14 for runner-up.
Benoit, a very consistent player out on the tour in 1989, led the tour in cashes with 25 of 32.
Now Pete Weber, 57th television appearance, a record of 60 wins, 39 losses, winning 60% of his television matches, only bettered by Mike Albee, who won 63%.
You know, a key to that shot, and Del Ballard can verify this, is your first shot on TV, as you see Weber with that stutter 5.5-step delivery, is to make a really good shot, as you see the power of Weber's, and then adjust off of that shot, right, Del?
Right. The first shot's very important because you had your practice balls, and now this is whenever it's the main event, and you want to make a good shot to where you can make a good adjustment off that shot.
And one of the mistakes rookies make is not knowing the right-hand lane is tighter, 74, so he adjusts on 73 off his first shot on 74. He would end up going high on this shot. Let's see what Weber does.
And the young man is the 4th pro to pass the $1 million mark in earnings. Pete Weber, strike in the 2nd frame.
Bob Benoit averaging 228 so far today. Will need a game in that area or above to win this tournament. 2nd frame.
Okay. We're at the Carolina lanes, 82 in total. And there is the managing director, a great guy, Lee Livingston, who and his staff have done a superb job for everybody, including tournament's namesake, Johnny Petraglia. Nice going, Lee.
3-pound, 8-ounce pins as Bob Benoit is beginning to struggle a little on the left-hand lane. He almost went high in the first frame, leaving a 4-pin. He goes high this time, avoids a split, and ends up with a very easy spare, just the 6-pin. It'll be an even match if he converts this third frame.
In the championship match, Johnny Petraglia Open. Next week to Long Island.
Weber strike up, can take the lead if he strikes in the third.
Okay, what'll the future bring for Pete after his touring days are over? Here's what he said.
Well, naturally, since my family's been in the bowling business all our lives, I guess I'd like to own a bowling alley and learn how to run one of them. And then compete regularly on the seniors tour out on that tour.
It's long range.
Yeah, going to be a while before he's ready for the seniors tour. He's only 28 years old, has a 10-pin lead here in the championship match.
Well, 2-8-10 now on the left lane.
What Pete Weber has to do is just basically just bounce the ball into this area and then take the pins and shoot them over into the 10.
All right, we're in the final game. Now Pete Weber trails by 5 as a result of that open. We'll be back. This man, Bob Benoit, bowling out of Topeka, doubled while we were away. Take a 15-pin lead. Pete Weber now, after an open, is shooting in the 5th frame of the title match. Del, that was an outside shot.
That looked like one of mine last week, almost.
You can see both players, as you see Joe Antonor, commissioner of the PBA, in attendance, enjoying the action. You see both players swinging the ball very wide on the right-hand lane, almost rolling it out to the Ballard board, if we can call it that, Del.
Thank you.
And then playing a little tighter inside line on lane 73, not swinging it quite as wide. This is the lane that's been giving them trouble.
Weber. And you look at Kim Schultheis, his fiancée from Columbus, Ohio, and tense today.
Del, with a big hook ball, very similar to yours, Benoit, what is the key for him now that he's zeroed in? What does he really have to work on?
What I would say is just stay confident, aggressive, and be cool.
Did he change speed on that shot?
Well, there's the baseball player, Montefusco, and the great football player, Phil Villapiano, just having a blast here today. They were here most of the week, bowled in the tournament, and both real good friends of the tournament honoree, Johnny Petraglia. Now as the match winds down with just 4 frames left, it's Benoit in command by 15, can extend to 25, 7th frame.
He's fun to watch.
Well, the big hook ball got him in trouble there. All he can do is throw the ball over in this area, and you can see Roth as he made it.
All right.
He's going for the 10-pin. Same way Roth went after it.
Roth, of course, did it, and John Mazza, the second ever to do it. And bad break for Bob Benoit.
Wasted pin there. He had a double up, though, and 7-10, even though we've seen it made twice on ABC, is not the kind of spare you throw away a pin on. So he's given away 2 pins to Pete Weber, who now has the lead and can extend to 11.
Johnny Petraglia Open, one of the 3 Triple Crown winners, along with this man and Billy Hardwood. And Bo, there have been other tournaments named for professionals like Pete's dad, Dick, Buzz Fazio, and Don Carter, of course.
We had the youngest player ever to win a PBA tournament, Norm Duke, Buzz Fazio. The name coming up is the oldest player at 56 years of age to win a PBA tournament. Youngest man ever to win 10 titles on the approach right now.
Now leads by 21 and fired up. Look out. Pete Weber and Benoit are both going for their second victory of the year to join David Ozio, who won the very first two. We're in our 9th week of a 16-tour winter tour.
New stop next week, Long Island. Now, in a must situation, Bob Benoit, 8th frame.
That comes true. 3 victories already today. There's the Leisure's Long Island Open next week. Pete will be there. Del Ballard will be there. All the stars.
You know, at this level of bowling, Chris, this 36-pin difference between a strike in the 7th frame for Benoit and that open frame. And he hit light, left the 7-10. It could have been a strike. It's been who gets the good breaks at the right time. Benoit needs a strike now, though, to stay alive. 9th frame.
You know, Bo, we have so many viewers that come out of their chairs on shots like that, or like Dell last week. We have a friend in Sturgis, Michigan, who on March 6th this week turned 101 years of age, Nathan Waddell.
He's ready for the seniors tour.
They called him Jack Armstrong, and Betsy Avery and all his friends had a party. Many more. Oh, yes. 28-year-old Pete Weber, 36-year-old Bob Benoit.
Weber's just a real good closer, and when he has a player down, he keeps him down, and he can just about put away the match, Del Ballard, if Weber strikes here. What's the situation?
Well, I think he'll make a very good aggressive shot. I know he's very pumped up. I hope he didn't make the same mistake I did last week.
Let's see a replay of that. Wow.